Our next project that we'll be working is sales report generation process. As a part of that, we have this Excel sheet as input file, which has got 4 records of data in it. As we can see, it contains the data for name, division, and sales. This is the name of the employee and the division to which he belongs to, and the sales that he made. Once this is done, then our end goal is to generate sales report in PDF file, which can be done through the Windows app that we will be having a look at. This is the Windows app that we have, which will take Word file as an input and give out a PDF file. But how will you get this Word file is the question now. So this Word file can be created out of this input file by taking the help of this Word template available to us. We just have to do one thing here. We have to input this data into this template 4 times and we'll be able to generate Word files of this kind. As you can see, this same template has been populated with the data available in the Excel sheet like this: David, North, and this. And then the Word files that have been generated has to be passed on to this particular application and it will give out this PDF files. So the main agenda of this project is that by the end of this automation, we'll be able to automate Word files, PDF files, and Windows application. So this is how you'll be able to get a good hands-on on how to handle this kind of automation. Let's go ahead and run this particular bot. I already have the code implemented for this. So let me run this once. So here is the input data. I have just kept a message box. And then as we can see, it is taking the help of the template and replacing the data in it with the Excel details. All this is being done by the bot. And now it has opened the application and it is entering the path of the Word file and also giving out the output folder path where the PDF files will be saved. And once this is done, I have kept a message box just for the confirmation. I'm clicking on OK and then it is processing the second one, and this is also done. And it is done. We are done with the demo. Let's go ahead and implement it. Now let's start implementing the project. I'll just select the process option here and let's create the workspace for us. It's robot 3 and the process name is sales report generation process. Yeah, it's done. And then paste it here and I'll create it. Right here, it is adding the dependencies to the project and also creating the workspace for us. So here it is, ready for us to start the implementation. So sometimes there are few activities that will be added to a project that you will never use. At least right now we know that we will be not using them. We can move back to manage packages and just uninstall them. Testing.activities will not be using, so I'm just uninstalling them. I'll click on save. So that is done, and I also know that I'll not be using mail activities, at least for now. So I'll just uninstall it and I will click on save. So it is always a good practice to remove all those particular components that are not related to our project or something which we will not be using in our project. So this is done. It is clear now, and I'll just double click right here so that it will open up the main.xaml, which is the default XAML for our project. So moving back to our code, there are few things which we will consider as input. One of them is this input file, which has the data, and this folders has to be created in our project. So let's go back to our code, which is this, and we'll open the project location. Here we have to place the input files that we have, which is nothing but the input file and those required folders. All this will be provided in your source code that you will find at the end of each lecture. Just copy this, this and this, and also this. I'm copying it and I'll paste it right here. And one thing that we have to do is, if there is any junk right here, just delete them, because this is where the bot will actually copy the project generated files. Fine. So we have everything for us right now: the PDF files folder, the Word files folder, the input and the template. Right, so we have everything. Start the implementation. Fine. And now the first thing that we have to do is we have to read the input file. Let's go ahead and look at the extension of it. Oh, it's CSV. So earlier, whatever we have automated was the Excel file, right? Okay. I'm just closing this and going back to our code. And here, last time we have been using sequence, but this time let's use a flowchart just to get you familiar with it. This is the flowchart. I'm just dragging it here. And as you can see, the only difference between flowchart and sequence is when we start adding elements to sequence, this will be in a sequence kind of thing right here. And even if you add a if condition, it will look something like this, the sequence way. But it is completely different when it comes to flowchart. And we'll anyway be seeing how different it is from the sequence going forward. So let me save this. And as we know, the first thing that we have to do is we have to read CSV. So as you know, your input is in CSV. Let's type CSV in the search of activities. Oh, we can see a lot of activities based on CSV. So let's drag this read CSV and connect this here. You have, so let me show you again. If you just hover over this, you'll find a point which is visible like this. You have to drag it to this. This is done. You have connected it. As soon as you connect, you get some errors right here. What it is asking for the value of file path. And let's quickly look at the properties of this particular activity. One is file path, so which file it has to read, and then comes delimiter. What is the delimiter? If you're aware, every CSV file has a delimiter. It can be comma, tab, semicolon, or anything. So this is what we have to pass on. And then we have encoding has headers. So has headers is something that we have to check because we also have to get the headers for that. And then comes the data table, the output that you have to create. Data table we have already seen. It is nothing but a collection of rows and columns. Going ahead, now we will go back to our project location. Here it is. We know that the input file name is input underscore data.csv. So I'll just copy this and I'll open this and then I'll input the value .csv. I've saved it, so the error has gone. And then I'll create a data table, which is Control K, my input, and then my input dt, and then enter, and I'll save it. So this is done. This should be able to read the data for us. But how can we be able to verify it? Let's use the activity that we have already used earlier, which is nothing but output dt. So here it expects the dt from this, which is nothing but the data table, my input dt. I'll just pass on that. Yeah, it's my input dt, and I'll also create a string. Maybe str should work. It can be anything. And then I'll just pass this here. So I'll just pass that particular variable here. Okay, so this is done. So if I start running this up, we'll be getting the output on the screen. Here it is. So we are done with the reading part of the input. Till now, we have looked at reading the input file, which is an Excel file for us. So this was the input file that we had with us, which has the data of the salesperson and the sales that was made by him and the division to which he belongs to. So the next thing that we have to do is this particular has to be implemented right now, where we have to create sales report files in Word format using the existing template that we have with us. Let me show you the existing template. So here is the template, the master template that we have. Let me open this. So this is the template, and we have to create a single template for all of this particular employees. We have to create a single word report for all these employees right here. We have to place this particular details into this template right here. Let's go ahead and create them. So we are back to the project that we have been implementing. Let's go ahead and take for each row activity. So what is the purpose of taking this? Because we have the input data in a data table and we have to go through each of this element. For that we can use for each row. Right here we will pass the data table that we had. You just have to click Control space in case if you don't know the name of the data table or if you just don't remember it. Just take this and this red symbol should go away, the error thing. Once this is done, the next thing that you have to do is click right here and you have to pass through each of this particular element or row basically. For that, let me take this message box so that you understand if you're able to receive that particular value. So it will be as first time the first row will be available in current row. I'm taking current row of what was the column name, so it should be name. I've copied it and I'm pasting it here, and it can be .toString. Yeah, I'm just saving it. To see if it's actually working, let me run this particular code. I'll close this meanwhile. As we can see, the whole data table is there, and we have got the name, and again we should receive the second one. It's there, the third and the fourth. So from this particular code, we are able to fetch each and every employee name, the sales representative's name. So what should we do right now with this? Let's go ahead and take an activity called copy. So right now, as we know, we have a template and we have to create a report for every sales representative. We'll try to use the template and create a new file with the sales representative's name. To do that, right, I'll just go back to the project folder. From here, I'll just go back. Yeah. So here, I'll click Shift and right click and then copy as path, and then I'll go back to the code. We are right here. Let me paste this thing. So here we have the full path of the template that we will be using. But do you think we really need the whole path right here? No, we don't. Because we are already in the folder, we can just ignore this and we can just use this. Okay. So the next thing that we have to do is, as we have the project folder like this, and you can just create a folder with name word_files, and you can open that and there are no files because we didn't actually create the word files yet. So to do that, what we will try to do is we'll copy this thing also and go back to our project and double quotes, I'll paste this. So what do I want exactly to happen right here? In Word folder, I have to place, or I have to copy this template with an employee name. So that is what we are going to do right here. So I'll just use a backslash here and then plus. With what name are we trying to create a new file? With the name of the employee, right? So this plus the file name's extension, which will be docx. This is done. Okay, I can also choose this option to overwrite. If there is a file existing in word_files folder, it will just overwrite it. So this is done. Let me go right here and run this. Okay, fine. So let's go ahead and see if it's working. The copy file is actually working. So for that, I have to close any existing Word files or Excel files, so that, because if we don't close it, we might get an exception saying the file is already being used. Yeah, I'm running it. Yeah, this is the whole data. And then the first row. And if I go back to the project folder, I should be able to see a file with the name Sharath. I'm right here. Let me open this, and yeah, I can see a file with name Sharath, but the data inside it will be same because we didn't change anything inside it, right? So I'll just click OK now with Sumant. So there should be another file with Sumant, and then David, and then Jim. Yeah, so the one part of our project requirement is done, where we have to create a copy of it. Great. So now let's go ahead and also replace the text in that particular Word file. To do that, let's take the help of Word activities. Sorry, I'm in project right now. Let me go to activities and search for Word. So yeah, we don't have Word activities installed in our project. Let me use this manage packages. So this project dependencies will show all the activities that are already available in your project. And because we are unable to find Word activities, we'll go right here and search for Word. And this is the activity that we need. So I'll just install it and save it. So it might take a while to install all this Word activities into our project as dependencies. Once that is done, we would be able to see all the Word activities in our project. Yeah, so it looks like they are imported. We go to here and search for Word. As you can see, there are all the activities that we actually need. So the one activity that we need right now is replace text. Yeah, this is the activity. Let me drag it here. And you can see it is asking for what to search for and what should you replace it with, right? But it is throwing an exception saying this was not supplied and this was not supplied. But as you can see, you didn't mention on which document this should happen. So that is where we have to use Word application scope. Just drag this activity inside it and pass the file path. So obviously this would be the path file. So obviously this would be the file path that we'll be working on. Let me pass this, and here if I just go back to the Word template that we had, right? Yeah, this is the master template that we had, and this should be replaced by the name that we have in the Excel. So I'm just copying it, coming back to the code or the project. I'll just use double quotes and just paste this and then replace it with this particular value which we are getting from the Excel. Great. So what this will do is, in this particular file, the Word file, it will search for this and replace it with the name. Similarly, it will do it for the other things also. I will copy this, paste this, copy this and paste this. So similar to name, what are the different fields that we had? We had division. Let me copy this too. This is also done. And what was the other one? It was sales. Just write sales here. And we also have to replace this particular values. Let's go back to the input file that we had just to confirm if the names that we are using, the spellings, definitely match with the original one. Let me open this input data file here. So it's division and the next one would be sales. So I'll just paste division here and then this would be sales, right? Yeah, I've just saved this and this is done for us where we are actually taking a copy of the template and then replacing the text inside it. Let me close the files that I have just opened. We don't want to make the changes. Yeah, hold these things, right, that we are trying to do manually, closing off the applications that can be done through the bot, which we'll be soon looking at. But for now, let's do it manually. Let me run this whole project. Yeah, this is the whole data. And then comes Sharath. And as you can see, it has created a file with name Sharath and it is trying to replace the text inside it. This is something which the bot is actually performing. And this time it's Sumant. And it has created a file for Sumant with the Sumant name. And it is also replacing the data. It will do this for all the records available in the input sheet. If I just go back to the folder, there are files from the previous run too, as you can see. Okay, Jim is not yet done. So I'll just go ahead and open Sharath once. See, this time it also has the data inside it, which has come from the input file. So we are still left with Jim. I'll just click on OK. That is creating a file for Jim too. Yeah, that is also done. Great. So we are finally done with this particular step. We are only left out with converting this Word files to PDF files using a Windows application that we had. Now let's move on to the next step that we have to implement, where we have to convert the Word files that we have with us to the PDF using the Windows application that we are given. We are right back into the project folder where we have an application given to us with the name Word to PDF Converter app. You can try to launch it and you'll be able to see the same application being launched, and there are few options right here. Don't be confused about it. This application, it will be available to you at the end of each section in the source code section. Basically, first thing that we have to do is we have to click on, I'm just trying to explain you the process of converting a Word file to PDF. You have to click on this and then select this particular file and then click on open. So here you'll be able to see the folder path of that, and then you have to pass the folder where this particular file has to be saved in PDF. So try to create this folder with the name PDF underscore files. If it's already there, it should not be there for you because you'll be creating it from the start. Just copy this, go back to this and paste it here, and then click on convert. So the application might take some time, and after that it should be able to give a PDF file. Okay, and as you can see, the status is completed and it has converted it to PDF. Great, right? Yeah, coming back to the project folder. So this is what we have to do by using the bot. So this is something that I've shown you how an actual human will do it. So let's go back to the code and see how we can implement this same thing. I'm back to the code. So the first thing that I will try to do here is we have to launch the application first so that we can continue doing all those operations later on. To do that, right, we have an activity called process, which is start process. I'm just dragging this right here, and as you can see there are few arguments it is expecting. Okay, it is expecting the file path of that particular application. I'm just going a step back, and this is the application name. So I'm just holding shift and right click. I'll copy this path and coming back to the code, I'll open this and I'll just paste this, Control V. So I have got the path of this. As this whole thing is just a root folder, we can remove this. Yeah, this should be sufficient. So this will be the relative path and not the absolute path. This should be enough for the bot to launch the application. So we are done with the activity called start process, which will actually open the application on the screen. The next thing, we are required to click on this and enter this particular file name and then the folder where it has to be saved, and then click on convert and also check if it is successful or failed. Right, for that, let me, just to avoid some confusion over here, I'll take this and let me go inside it. First thing that we have to do is we have to click on select Word file, right? So let me take click activity. Yeah, it is here, and I'll indicate that particular button. So I'm able to highlight it, right? So yeah, I'll just select this. You can start renaming this. I can name it as select Word file. Okay, So as we have seen, this is a click activity which has got a lot of properties with it. You can actually select any of these particular things based on your requirement. For now, there is not much of an advanced requirement we have. The only thing that we have to do is we have to pass the selector to it, and it should be a click, single click, and the mouse type should be left. Yeah, this is what is needed for now. I'll just save this, and once the bot clicks on here, it has to, we as a human are actually selecting the files. We can also provide the file path here, right? So what I'll try to do is I'll just click on shift and right click and copy as path, and we can also pass this particular thing like this. It will open it, similar to what it has done when we were actually doing it manually. So the same thing we will do. So the bot has to enter that particular path right here, right? So that is the requirement. Just click on cancel. I will take type into activity. Here it is. So I'll spy that particular thing again. As we can see, it's not there. It will only appear after we click on select word file. So you can just hold function plus F2 button. It will give you 5 seconds. In between, you can just click on this. Yeah, again the selection is back. Just try to spy this text box. Yeah, we have got it. So here we have to paste the one that we have selected earlier. Yeah, so this is there. Okay, great. So the bot will be able to enter the data here like this, and the next thing that it has to do is click on open button. All right, for that we again need a click activity. Yeah, here it is. We have to just click on open. Yeah, so we have got this particular button being spied, and we can rename it to open. So this will actually complete the step till this point. So the next thing that we have to do is we have to provide the folder into which this PDF files has to be saved, right? So let's go back to the code. Again, I have to take the help of type into and then indicate on screen, and right here I have to enter the text, which is nothing but the folder, right? Let me keep it as folder. What should be the folder path? Going back to the folder, project folder, I'll just go here, and we have to copy this whole thing, and I'll come back and paste it here. Sorry, it should be in double quotes. Yeah, so we are done till this particular point. So the next thing is that we click on convert button and then wait for the status, right? Then let's take another click here and click on convert. This will be convert. So just check on if it is giving us a proper selector. If it's not, take the help of UI Explorer. Okay, it's the same way, but you will be able to get more options on the selectors. You can just click on indicate element, select this, and see there are other fields that you can take help from. Okay, you can also add title, AA name, and the other things. For now, let's go ahead with this itself. So once we click on convert, yeah, we have been getting this message box which says this is the folder into which that particular files are being saved. This is being given by the application itself, and once that is done, we got a label which says completed. Okay, so because we want to wait till that particular thing is processed, okay, let's take element exist activity. So this will allow us to wait till that particular status appears on the screen. Click on indicate on screen and it should have the word completed. No, it's not giving us that particular thing. So let's take the help of this and then try to spy this. This time I'll select this too. Yeah, let's copy this, go back to the activity and paste it right here. As you can see, it should be validated. If I just come back to this particular application, if I just click here, right, so if I select something and this is not there, let's go back to UI Explorer and click on validate. So as you can see, it's failing. So our selector was working for completed status. Just click on OK, and because this will give you out a boolean value which can be maybe status flag. You can create it by pressing Ctrl K and flag. Yeah, we have the value with us which tells us if that particular thing appears on the screen. Let me take a if statement which will allow us to display a message based on this particular status. This will be status flag, and if it is true, then we will display something in a message box. Completed. Yeah, so that is something that we have just finished up. Let's go ahead and run it once, end to end. I'm running it. As you can see, it is just showing up all the data that we have. And then Sharath, it will prepare those Word files. And the similar thing will be done with all the other files too. So it will be David this time. So the main agenda of this particular activity is that you understand how to deal with Excel files, how to deal with Word files, and how to automate a Windows application. Yeah, so it has opened the application and it has done all the work. It has clicked on this, it has done everything, and everything is done. So you have been displayed this message. Once you click on this, it has shown us the status called completed. Just click on OK. So this is done. Let's go back to the folder, the project folder, and see if it was successfully able to create a PDF file. As you can see, it's been created. Okay, the timestamp has changed, so this is the recent file. Okay, so are we done? I don't think so, because it should be done for all this particular Word files, but the bot was able to do only for the David. The reason being, we have sent it an hard-coded path. As you can see here, I have just sent an hard-coded path. Let's make it static in the coming video. So we were able to actually create one PDF file for David. So similarly, the requirement is that it has to be done for all other executives too. So for that, what we have to do is, let's go back to this particular folder and let's open this. So in the code, we were only passing the David here, but how can we actually pass all those particular Word files dynamically? Let's look at that. Let me go back and create a new XAML called test maybe. It should be there already here. Using this, I'm not doing it directly right here. I'm just taking another XAML just to test it so that you understand it better rather than confusing yourself. I'll take just an assign activity. So I'll just drag it here, and to get different files from a folder, we can use a particular method called get files. Got it right? For that, just press Ctrl and space and start typing directory dot get files. So you just have to pass the path here, and this will give all the files available in that particular directory. So what is the folder for us? This is the folder that we need. So I'm just taking this, or rather, because our project is already in this, we can take only this part of it. So here I'll just go right here and I can paste that word here. Okay, fine. So this gives me an array of items. Okay, for to save that, I have to create an variable. Maybe I can say my list and enter. And if I go right here, it will be of what type? String. But it has to be array of strings. Click on OK and this error should go away. So once that is done, let's check if we are actually able to fetch those particular file names. Let me take for each here, and for this for each I'll set the type argument as string because it's an array of strings, and I'll pass this list here, my list, and then I'll just take a message box. If it's not there, you can just type message box right here. So it should be current item for me because every element in this is being stored here for every iteration. Yeah, this is done. So let me run this and see what actually comes out. I'll just click on run file so that it just runs this, not the main file. Yeah, so it is giving me Word files and David, and then it will give me this, and then it will give me this, and then it will give me this. But is this same as what it is here? Here it is expecting the full path, but we are just getting the last two parts of this particular thing. So how can we get the whole thing? For that, we have a method called, let me remove this, and it is path dot get full path. This should give us the whole file location. Okay, let me run this once again. So all these things, right, you don't have to remember. As soon as you Google for this particular requirement, you start getting all those things over there. So as you can see, this is what we were actually looking out for. So you don't have to remember all this particular code. Okay, you can get it over Google, or once or twice. If you just get used to it, you will be able to remember at least the function through which you will be able to start your Google search. So this is done for us. So let's copy this and let me create some space right here. so that I can paste this. So where exactly should it go? It should be added here. So once we launch the application, we'll search for this. Again, here I have to create a variable with type array of strings. Yeah, that's done. And then each one of this should go into this sequence, as we can see in the test XAML, right? So this exact thing we have to replicate here. So I'm just dragging this a bit down. Now let me drag the for each activity, and I'll connect this here and this here. So this is not needed. Let me delete this, because we'll be placing this sequence into this for each. Okay, and also pass the variable that we have created, because it contains all the list. Yeah, this is also there, and this has to be replaced with this particular thing, right? Let me do that too here. Yeah, done. So we have removed all the hard-coded values that are available here. And the next thing that we have to do is, here you can see it's still not dynamic. Okay, it's still an hard-coded value. Let's dissect this particular thing. I'll be trying to go to this and see what exactly it is. Here you can see this is nothing but the root folder of this project itself. Okay, and this is something that is a folder. So till this part, okay, you'll be able to get by using a function that we have. It is nothing but control space. You'll get this. It is environment dot get directory. So this will give the project folder, and the extension for that will be PDF files. So you have made everything dynamic, so there is no hard-coded values anywhere in our code. So this whole thing is done. We can just go back to the main sequence, and you can expand it if you want, or you can collapse it if you want. So this whole thing is done. Let's try to run it end to end right now. Close all the files that you have if you opened the Word file, the application and all this, because we are not closing them or killing them using robot. We are right now doing it manually itself. And for more visibility, you can delete these files. You can also delete this file. Yeah, so we are ready to run the bot. Yeah, let me run it. So this is the whole data, and it is working on the first one. It is preparing the Word files as expected. It will be doing it for Sumant file. And once all these things are done, okay, let's give it some time to process them. So it is working on Jim. So sometimes all these things which is happening, right, the copying of this data into Word file, it might appear on the screen, or you'll be able to see it at the taskbar of your system. So as you can see, those Word files might be created, and it is giving all these values right here into the web application, sorry, the Windows application. So see, this time everything is dynamic. Let me click on OK, and we'll wait for the status to be completed. As soon as it is completed, it's giving out a message saying completed. Let's click on OK, and we'll again go to the next one. So first time it was Sharath, and this time it is Jim. And see, there is an error that we didn't handle. It is trying to enter the data continuously. Okay, it is not making this blank. Got it right? Else it would have been successful this case. So let's try to handle it. You can just go back to your code. This is the code. Stop it. And let's find out the culprit. As you can see right here, we have to go and we have to check this activity right here, which is empty field. So what it will try to do is it will clear the existing text and it will enter the new text into it and save it. After saving, try to run it and you will find it moving smoothly. So that was about sales report generation process, where you were able to automate different kind of applications in just one use case. It included Excel automation, Word automation, Windows app automation, and you were also dealing with a lot of file and folder methods.